Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me. So, Elon Musk, Telsa, his tech company, has replaced, according to this article I'm about to read to you guys, has replaced American workers with foreign workers on what is called the H-1B visa program. And there's a lot of backlash that Elon Musk is facing for this because obviously he owns this company. He owns Telsa, and evidently, a lot of people, particularly on the right, are lashing out against him. A lot of conservatives are lashing out against him because they're seeing this as a way to undercut American workers. And they're like, wait a minute, man, wait a minute. We're not in support of this. So let's get right into this article. Let's see exactly what the issue is. In the wake of Elon Musk's fiery defense of H-1B visas, it has come to light that Telsa has replaced U.S. employees laid off earlier this year with foreign workers. And I kind of talked about that a little bit in my last video about the comment that Vivek Ramaswamy made in reference to American workers and Americans in particular being lackadaisical and mediocre in their efforts in particular areas and such as engineering and tech companies and so forth. And this is causing a major problem in terms of competition. Well, anyway, let's go on. With foreign workers holding the very H-1B visas that Musk lashed out at conservatives for not supporting. Electric reports that, according to reports from current and former Telsa employees, as well as data from the U.S. Department of Labor, the company has significantly increased its use of H-1B visas to fill positions left vacant by the layoffs of approximately 15,000 U.S. workers in April of 2024. And I'm going to talk about these. The article is going to explain what the H-1B visas are for those that may not know. The layoffs affected every department, but were particularly concentrated in Telsa's operations in Texas and California, where the company has the largest number of employees. H-1B visas are intended to allow U.S. companies to hire foreign workers for, quote, specialty occupations when there is a shortage of qualified American workers. The visas are valid for 3 years and can be extended for an additional 3 years. However, the visa holder must maintain employment with the sponsoring company to retain their work status. Otherwise, they are required to leave the country. This arrangement has been criticized by some as giving employees excessive power over foreign workers and potentially leading to a form of modern indentured servitude. Telsa alone requested over 2,000 H-1B visas during the period when it was laying off thousands of U.S. workers. This figure represented over 3% of the total H-1B visas available nationwide, according to the affected employees. Many of those laid off were senior engineers with higher salaries who have been replaced by more junior foreign engineers at lower pay rates. This practice has raised concerns about companies using the H-1B program to cut labor costs and displace American workers. And the article goes on to say how that Elon Musk has made a comment, or I believe it was on X, formerly known as Twitter, basically commenting, making a pretty strong statement about people's opposition against what he supports here in terms of these H-1B visas, whatever. But yeah, I mean, you have to look at this and ask the question: is this when I first read about this, I was like, it's good and then it's bad. And I'm not going to support Elon Musk simply because he's with Trump. I'm not going to say, whoa, I'm Trump, pro-Trump. Yeah, I support Trump. I do support his policies. But if someone does something that is kind of iffy and they're getting complaints, if it's board members, if you will, of Trump's board members or the people that he placed in his administration are making decisions that may have a negative effect on Americans, I'm not going to agree with it simply because it's a part of Trump's cabinet or a part of his administration. I'm not going to do that. If it's something I don't understand, if it's something that's kind of iffy, and if other conservatives are speaking negatively about it, then I got to look into it. Now, I think there's two sides to this. You got to ask the question, why was Telsa laying off all of these workers? Why were they laying off all of these workers and hiring all of these foreigners with the same degrees, but these are juniors, basically just graduating. They're juniors. They're not going to get paid that much. You get rid of all your high-paid senior engineers, and then you bring in all these lower wages. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you lay off all of these people? And you have to ask, and I asked myself that question, and I think everyone should inevitably ask themselves the question of why a lot of these businesses and companies are laying off a lot of American workers. Is it because they just want to make more money? Because this comes from the left quite often. It's just because they want to make more money. They want to make more money. Woo, 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 woo. Is that it, or are they trying to? Is part of it the company or businesses trying to survive the economy, the high cost of living, regulations, over-regulation? If you got all of these regulations that liberal politicians tend to push on these corporations and businesses, those regulations cost money, and it stifles and stunts and hinders the expansion of a lot of these corporations and businesses from expanding out and creating more business ventures and more investments, which in turn brings back more profits for them, which in turn opens up more avenues in terms of job employment. But if they can't do that, if they're overregulated, it hinders them from doing that. And as the cost of living goes up, their hands become tied. Now, I'm not saying there isn't any greed involved. Obviously, there's greed involved, but we got to stop letting these liberals on these liberal TV shows scream the same thing to us all the time. It's not always greed. Okay, a lot of times it's about survival. A lot of times it's about survival and keeping the business afloat. And if these businesses such as Telsa is saying we got to lay off all of these employees and major employees that we have here that are highly skilled, getting high salaries, but we got to lay these guys off and hire other people from foreign countries with these visas, okay, these H-1B visas, whatever, and pay them low wages. That's what we're going to have to do until these regulations are taken off of us and we can expand, okay? But on the other hand, I can understand why some conservatives are against what Elon Musk is supporting, because they're seeing this as a way of undercutting American workers. But is that really what it is? Is Elon Musk saying, hey, I'm going to undercut all these American workers? I don't care what they think, maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know what Elon Musk is thinking. No one knows what Elon Musk is thinking, okay? But at any rate, if I would say this, I would ask the person a question. If you own a business, what would you do? Because the bottom line of every business is the bottom line, whether it's a big business, a corporation, or a small business. The bottom line is always the bottom line. That's why it's a business. It's there for profit. Okay. If they're not making a profit, or if their profit is stymied by something external like government intervention, okay, government intervention can cause major problems. As a matter of fact, according to some economists, government intervention has been the cause of a lot of these businesses laying off a lot of people anyway. But anyway, that's another story, and I digress. If you have these kind of issues and you own these businesses, what will you do? What will you do in a situation like that? And I can't completely blame Telsa and Elon Musk for thinking that way. They're thinking like business people think. Now, someone may argue, well, okay, but sir, this is government. Government is not business. Yeah, but the government is always putting their foot in business. If the government would keep their feet and their nose and their brain out of the private sector, we probably wouldn't have all these issues. Most of these issues are of laying off, of people getting laid off in these big corporations and so forth, and even businesses, is largely due to government intervention and over-regulation, which puts pressure on them financially. I mean, when Trump was in office, yeah, there was some layoffs. There was some layoffs, but come on, let's be realistic. Were there as many layoffs in Trump's administration as it is under Biden's? Let's stop playing games, man. Come on. I don't even need to go into the detail of that. You put two and two together, something just funky. Something don't smell right. It stinks. So he's getting a lot of backlash. Elon Musk is getting a lot of backlash from some conservatives who feel like he's undercutting American workers. But this goes back to the previous video I did on Vivek Ramaswamy's comment on the state of many Americans that attend colleges and attend these schools and major in fields that are not necessarily fields that their businesses and corporations need. Telsa is a tech company. Those are tech companies, engineering and all that. Okay, those are tech companies. They're not, I mean, no offense to anyone that majors in other fields, but those are tech companies. They need engineers. They need people that have strong math skills. There aren't a lot of those kind of people in America. There aren't a lot of students, or Americans rather, majoring in the fields of engineering. There aren't a lot of students in America doing that. Most of these students are from foreign countries, and when they graduate, they come in. The Telsa and other major corporations of tech companies hire them for little or nothing. As a business owner, what would you do? What would I do? Would I just say, I'm just going to keep a whole bunch of Americans? I mean, is that really what I would do? I would probably not go that route. As a business owner and an entrepreneur, I probably would not go that route. My business has to survive. And if my business doesn't survive, more than likely, I'm probably not going to survive. I mean, then again, I may survive. I can create another business, but who wants to go through all that again, right? You want to maintain the one you have, and you want to do what you need to do in order to maintain it. And unfortunately, it may mean laying off your other workers and hiring all these foreigners with the same skills, tech skills, but at a lower rate. So, yeah, I can understand the argument. I can understand why some conservatives are angry about that, but I don't think Elon Musk is purposely undercutting American workers because he wants to destroy American workers or any of that. I think Elon Musk is thinking business. He's thinking business, okay? And if we get, and going back to what Ramaswamy said about the lack of Americans majoring in these fields, then what do we expect? Now, let me make a comment too in reference to something someone had told me several days ago in reference to the last video I did on the state of mediocrity and normacy that Americans have adopted here. He made the statement that a lot of Americans are not tech savvy. They don't have the brain capacity of a mathematician, if you will. They're not strong in math. They're not strong in these areas. And that's true. I do agree. And if I did not make that plain in the last video, I'll make it plain in this video. That's true. A lot of people are not. But here's the deal. We can't complain. We can't complain when other foreigners, people from other countries are coming over here taking over our jobs and so forth, fields that we majored in at one point. Now they're taking over. We can't complain about that. We can't complain. And let's be realistic. How many Americans are majoring in these kind of fields? Because what I'm getting the impression of is that at one point in one state, particularly before the 1960s, after the 1960s, everything went downhill for America, economically, socially, everything, religiously, everything. But anyway, what I'm understanding is before the 1950s, the 1960s, America was on the rise economically. America was on a rise educationally and socially. They were on a rise. It wasn't until after the 1960s that things went downhill for America, but I'm not going to go into the detail of that. Y'all already know. I've already talked about the 1960s. It wasn't as great as everybody think. We love the one you with. Boo, 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 boo. No, boo, boo. A lot of bad things happened in the 1960s that hurt America horribly in almost every area. But anyway, before then, it could be argued that America was way more competitive because we had a significant number of Americans majoring in fields that required that kind of brain power, if you will. Of course, you had some that did not, because everybody can't do that. That's not their specialty. I get that. But let's be realistic. Back in those days, man, when you went to school, the teachers really taught you. And your math skills may not been like brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so's math skills. Oh, okay. But your math skills would have been far superior than the math skills of students in the 1960s and after. Because the teaching changed. And when the teaching change and the teachers change, okay, and the curriculum changes, then the students will change, their brain power will change, their abilities will change because of what's being spoon-fed to them. It decreases their intelligence. It does not increase their intelligence. But that's another video right there, the dumbing down of America. It's another video because we certainly have been dumbed down. I know that seems sound like a condescending word, but I'm actually borrowing that word. A particular book that was written some time ago, titled "The Dumbing Down of America," and it was referencing how a lot of these schools after the 1960s the teachers and the curriculum was became designed, if you will, to dumb down and decrease the intelligence of the students rather than increase. Now, this was not in all the schools. You had some schools that was still trying to push true education, but eventually they ended up getting destroyed, if you will. But now look at it. Now look at it. You look at the universities. The universities, Princeton and others, are a shell of what they used to be many, many decades ago. They're a shell of what they used to be. They become woke social justice centers. That's what they've become. Hopefully, Trump administration will change that. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see. We'll see. Yeah, but I mean, but ending the video on this note, look, I can't get angry with Elon Musk on this. I'm not going to get angry. Do I agree? Nah. I'll say I understand. He's a business entrepreneur. And I would say to anyone who's a business entrepreneur, at the end of the day, what are you going to do? At the end of the day, what are you going to do? If you have a business and you're struggling, are you going to keep your workers? If you have a way of, what are you going to do? That's what happens when you own a business. You have to make decisions that you don't like to make. But other people on the outside like to sit on the outside and judge the business entrepreneur and judge the corporation. You people just don't care about this, and you just greedy. And that's not always the case. That is not always the case. And I'll say, once again, most of the time that's not the case. Has it been the case? And is it the case in some instances? Yes. Because human beings are human beings. Okay. So you're going to always have greed. But liberals in the left are just as greedy. The very ones that yick and yak, the left, that yick and yak about corporations being greedy and just wanting to make money and getting rid of their workers or don't want to pay their workers, are the very individuals that benefit from capitalism. Every last one of them liberals that yak, they got money. They have more money than we have. They have more money than we have. Lazy lima beans. But they'll tell you, these corporations are so greedy. They did that, man. That's one reason why I don't like them. Let me calm down. Because they're so hypocritical. They're so hypocritical. So at any rate, I don't want to go into a tantrum on these liberal people, the left. They're just hypocrites. They're hypocrites, man. At any rate, that person has to ask himself that question. Is this something, if I was a business entrepreneur, what would I do? My hands are shackled and I need to make some moves. What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I'm going to keep, because I have ethics and morality, and I'm going to keep. Okay, you can do that, but your business might tank. So anyway, that's my opinion on that. What do you guys think about Telsa's, not Telsa, but Elon Musk's support of his company, rather, bringing in these people from these foreign workers on this H-1B program, visa program, whatever. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think he's trying to undercut American workers because you just don't love American workers? Or you just hate America because he's anti-American? Is that it? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.